Welcome back, Deadites and Ghost Beaters, or if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'm Oldhead Gaming, an Evil Dead content creator amongst a slew of other horror games I cover. And I apologize, I've been a little under the weather the last few days with the flu, but I did take the time to not stream, but I did take the time to watch the dev stream and see what we could glean from that, and there was a lot of cool information. I'll show you a little bit of a clip to make it a little more digestible for you guys. I'm going to do a quick stitching here of Cal from Saber dev team along with Sahinki, and I'm going to just daisy chain the explanation or synopsis they kind of gave of Plaguebringer, David, and Mia. I'm just going to have them, and we'll come back after that.
Her first ability is called Uncontrollable. So when this ability is activated, Mia cannot be possessed. But her vulnerability to damage and fear is significantly increased and cannot be decreased.
Yeah, so the main function of that essentially is just avoiding the possession. You know, you see the demon drop out of a possessed Deadite, and you don't want to be possessed. You activate it, and of course, you become more vulnerable, but you can't be possessed. So that's kind of the trade-off.
Something to keep a note too is, you know, when the ability deactivates, her fear levels drop, and according to how many evil units she's killed while it's active. So, you know, depending on how much damage she does, you know, it'll affect how her fear drops.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool feature in terms of, like, as a way, as sort of like a tech way that you could just remove fear if you want to. If your fear's already high, you can activate her ability, slay a bunch of Deadites, and all of a sudden your fear will drop back down to 0 if you've killed enough. So I think that's very, very cool.
Exactly. Another ability that she has is called Fear Leads to Anger. So when Mia's fear level reaches a specific threshold, her damage potential increases as her fear rises. So the more scared she is, the more damage she deals.
Yeah, so the trade-off is, you know, you do a ton more damage, you can't be possessed, but you're also a little bit of a glass cannon in those moments as well. So I think that's really smart design.
Yeah. She has a couple other abilities, but, you know, I'm going to let you discover those tomorrow when this comes out. So I think it's time to move on to our boy David. Yeah, so David is a support class, as a lot of you have guessed on social from the art and teasers. You are pretty on point with some of your predictions. He does some real damage with the nail gun. It's a new ranged weapon that we have that we will show later in the stream. He has an ability called Beacon of Hope. So what this does is it reduces fear for you and any teammates within the Flame's aura. Evil units within that aura require an increased amount of infernal energy to possess.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a pain for the demon.
It's definitely a pain, and it's another way that survivors can try and avoid, especially the early aggression from the demon, because you know, the cost is already pretty high after the last patch to possess a Deadite early on, and now if it's inside that aura, suddenly it's even more. So very cool.
This next ability is called Soda Pop. When David drinks his chefs, he is all nearby survivors, takes less damage for a limited time. The Plaguebringer is a new demon that infects survivors with blight. So that deals damage over time and recovers infernal energy. So this is new.
Yeah, and you're going to find when Cal goes over the abilities that recovering infernal energy on the damage of the blight is very important to her kit. So why don't when we go over the active ability?
The first ability the demon has is called Wicked Brew. So the demon is the witch from, you know, our favorite movie. And the witch places the cauldron on the ground. Evil units within the cauldron's aura take reduced balance bar damage and have a reduced infernal energy cost for using abilities.
Yeah,
we haven't had a demon that does something like this.
Yeah,
this is a new mechanic.
Yeah, that's gonna be new for people that have been playing demon. So the way that this demon works is the boss and the units both have energy costs associated with using the abilities. And the trade-off is that there's basically no cooldown. There's a little bit of a global cooldown. On some of them have more cooldowns, but the way it works is you can kind of spam abilities, but it costs infernal energy every time you use them. And the more you use one ability, the more the cost increases. So the cost might be 30, and then 60, and then 90, etc. So when you drop down the cauldron, it's going to decrease those costs for using the special abilities.
Also to note too, survivors within that aura of the cauldron receive less healing from items and abilities. So it's just a deadly place to be if you're a survivor.
Yeah, you don't want to be around the boiling water. And then oh, go ahead.
Her next ability is called Expert Alchemist. It enhances the effects of the Witch's Brew ability, further reducing balance for damage and the infernal costs for evil units within that cauldron's area. Survivors within that will, again, it just increases everything, essentially.
It's like bad influence and really bad influence. It's leveling up the cauldron and making it more powerful. So
Also, we got to see the 2 new weapons. One was a melee weapon, which is the syringe, which is an odd weapon. There is some pretty cool executions. I'll actually show you a couple of those as well while we're talking about this. And of course, the nail gun, which we now found out is indeed David's specialty, of course. And it actually didn't do terrible damage. It was confirmed as being special weaponry. So of course, that's with the ammunition you're going to use on it. Mia is a interesting character. She is, of course, the machete master herself, and you get to see her a lot through the dev stream, and I think she's gonna be a lot of fun to play, especially with the fact that, that she has like her rage mode, which I thought was actually really coolly done. And then of course we finally saw Plaguebringer, and of course she was played by Andy some, and then she was played by Sahinki some. And of course he dropped this really gigantic cauldron like you're stirring your witch's brew up with, and that has bonuses to the amount of fertile energy you burn to activate supers, which I thought was a very unique style of how to actually do Plaguebringer. She doesn't really have cooldowns per se. All of her attacks, her specialty attacks, of course, not just basics, all her specialty attacks consume infernal energy, and that's the same on basics, elites, as well as herself when she's summoned. So I'll show you a little bit of gameplay on her as well.
Also,
I'm curious about this. How's the grab look?
I see a cauldron's down.
Gets poisoned. Oh my gosh, the damage on that's pretty nuts. Have a potion. Have more potions.
No.
Oh, that's kind. Oh, interesting. So the heavy's more of like a cone AOE, and then the normal attack's kind of like a range.
Okay. Yep, that hurts. Yep. I don't like that.
Very cool. Oh my gosh, I'm a hunter. No, stop it.
It's too late.
No.
Ah!
We will, of course, be diving headfirst into some Plaguebringer action. I plan to, if there is indeed, we haven't had it confirmed, if there is indeed a mission, I will be dropping a walkthrough for how to do that as well. And of course, we'll be doing some Plaguebringer in the morning. We'll be doing some group in the afternoon. We've been farming some points. I might be a little bit light to max all 3, but I can at least do for sure Plaguebringer and one of the 2 characters. I might do David just because I don't want to play Mia. Like, I kind of feel like the same way about her that I did with Evil Ash, that they're a little too powerful, but I could be completely wrong. She did seem pretty strong, especially when she was going into her activation of Burning Fear into damage. And she gets a red glow and gets all possessed. It's pretty cool looking, but I'm not sure she's a character I really want to play. But I'll let you make a decision for yourself. Here's some information. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.